Hi, I'm Sandy Krasner. I've been an engineer at the Jet Propulsion Lab for 45 years. I've worked on missions to every planet from Mercury to Saturn, plus a few comets and asteroids. And JPL is the only place in the galaxy where you can do that. But I've decided to focus on the only planet that we know of that harbors life, and that's Earth. Interestingly, our 2020 Mars rover was named Perseverance, along with the helicopter that it carried, which is called Ingenuity. And climate's going to take both of those. So I'm also the group lead for the local chapter of the Citizens Climate Lobby, which is also called CCL. I'm not going to show you pictures of stranded polar bears. Polling shows most Americans understand that climate change is a threat, but they don't know what to do about it. So I could spend my entire time showing you climate horror pictures, but I'm going to pick one that affects us all. We live in Altadena. Our house survived, no fire damage, but we evacuated and we were out of the house for about a month until the smoke damage could be remediated. There was a house that burned at the end of our block and about half a block the other direction. So I've been worried about the climate for years, but the Eaton Fire literally brought it close to home. Now, California's had wind and wildfires for centuries, but it's clear that climate change made the fire much worse. First, we had what they call climate whiplash. We had back-to-back years of extreme rains, and we got lots of greenery growing up, and then we had record temperatures and a record dry fall, so all the greenery turned into nice kindling. We had extreme winds caused by extreme heat. The embers from that flew for miles, and it turned what had started as a wildfire into an urban conflagration. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. Climate change is such a huge problem. People ask, well, what can one person do? I even heard Deborah Vance ask about this on an episode of Hacks the other night. The answer is there's a lot of things you can do. The main things we have to do is we have to stop emitting greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide and methane, which is also known as natural gas. So what can you do both individually and with your friends and neighbors? Well, the most important thing you can do is vote. Local, state, and federal elections are coming in about 18 months in 2026. It's really important to vote. Don't tell me you don't like either of the candidates or any of the candidates. Unfortunately, you don't get to pick none of the above. So find the most climate-friendly candidate and vote for them. And then also, you can campaign for climate-friendly candidates. There's lots of ways you can campaign. Write postcards, you can make phone calls, you can knock on doors. If the climate-friendly candidate in your district is a shoo-in, find a nearby district, go to the next district and knock on doors there. You can lobby your elected representatives. So, as I said, I'm with the Citizens Climate Lobby Group. We've got chapters in every congressional district in the country, and we lobby our federal representatives for legislation to fight climate change. I'm part of the group that goes and lobbies Judy Chu in our area, so we have done that a number of times. We train people to speak up and lobby their elected officials, and we train people to tell ordinary people what they can do to save the climate, kind of like what I'm doing here today. I've had some really interesting discussions at tabling, both with climate deniers and with people who are panicked about the climate. Be honest, nothing is happening in Washington right now, at least until after the next election. The best thing we can do is to minimize the amount of damage that they're doing in Washington right now. But there's a huge amount that's going on in California, in the legislature in Sacramento. Believe me, it's difficult to keep up with everything that's happening. There are so many bills going through the legislature. CCL has a group called Climate Future California, and what they're focusing on right now is lobbying to reduce electric rates. That'll make it cheaper to electrify everything in your life, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. You can also take action locally. So Pasadena has a group called Pasadena 100 that's trying to get Pasadena to move to 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. So that's sort of a hyper-local activity. The City Council passed a resolution for this about 2 years ago. Now we're down in the nitty-gritty of working with Pasadena Water and Power to see how they achieve this. I'm learning a lot about power systems that I never knew anything about. If you understand power systems or you understand how to lobby city council members, please help us. And I'm going to be tabling out in the lobby afterwards. Come by and talk to me. Or you can find a group in your area. If you look up the League of Women Voters, they've also got a lot of activity in this area. Okay, so that's kind of what you can do collectively and legislatively. There's a lot of things you can do in your own lives and homes. In 2024, 50% of California's electricity was generated without carbon emissions, and that's going to be 100% by 2045. In 2024, California had 100 days where the electric supply was completely carbon-free, completely renewable for at least part of the day. Now, we can't do it the entire day. Clearly, the sun sets at night. But it's clear that the grid is getting cleaner each year, and the electricity that you use gets cleaner each year. So one of the biggest things you can do is electrify everything. Almost half of California's greenhouse gas emissions come from transportation. So if you're in the market for a car, buy an electric vehicle. Cheaper ones are coming on the market, and particularly the manufacturers need to hear your voice. They need to hear that there is a market for these cars. They're cheaper to fuel, they have much lower maintenance, lots of reasons to buy EVs. California offers rebates for EVs and chargers. There are still some federal credits until the Congress and the administration manage to destroy them, which is what they're trying to do, which goes back to the previous comments about lobbying. An important thing to do is stop burning natural gas, and we really think it's probably more accurately called fossil gas because it's a fossil fuel. And fossil gas is mostly methane. So when gas is burned, it turns into carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. When it's not burned and when it leaks into the atmosphere, it's 80 times more effective at global warming than carbon dioxide is over about a 20-year period. So stop using natural gas. Methane leaks cause about a third of global warming, and everything in the gas chain leaks. Burning and leaking gas in the home also increases the likelihood of cancers and asthma and respiratory diseases. So there are alternatives to burning natural gas. You can get heat pumps. A heat pump is essentially an air conditioner where you can use either the hot end of the air conditioner or the cold end of the air conditioner. By the miracle of thermodynamics, one of these things you study in engineering school, they're about 400% efficient, which kind of sounds impossible. If your water heater or furnace needs replacing, you can replace them with heat pumps. If your air conditioner is wearing out, you can replace it with a combined air conditioner and furnace, which is a heat pump. If you need to replace your stove, you can get induction stoves. They're cheaper to operate, they're faster to heat, and they're more precisely controllable. And you can get a single burner for a single induction burner for about $100. So it's, you can transition to these. Okay. The Eaton fire, as you guys are all familiar with, destroyed about 6,000 homes. And this is a tragedy. This is a horrible thing to have happening. But if you're rebuilding, you may as well build back all electric. You don't need to have natural gas. Your indoor air will be cleaner. You don't need to run gas lines. You don't need a separate furnace and an air conditioner. And you'll significantly reduce your contribution to climate change. So both an individual advantage and an advantage for the globe. You can build back sustainably. If you look up passive homes or come talk to me in the lobby about this, there's a lot of things available to essentially make your house more efficient. So it needs less power to warm and cool your house. And if you can afford it, install solar arrays and batteries. All the electricity you generate is carbon-free. You'll save money on your electric bill, and you'll make some money if you produce more than you use. One of the things I found fascinating recently is because of I said about California at times is producing more renewable energy than they can use, and we're throwing it away. If you have batteries, and as we start producing that much renewable energy, we need to have batteries to be able to store that and use that at night. And the cost of batteries is coming down basically on the same curve that the cost of solar arrays is coming down. Right? Anyway, so that's my story. There's a lot of things you can do at home with your friends and neighbors, at a state lobby, a local level, and at the federal level. If you want to get involved in this, come see me in the lobby. Pick one activity that you can start on and persevere. Thank you.